Welcome. This week I'm going solo again, but I promise that we have several great interviews coming up in the next several weeks. We'll be talking to the awesome people that make the Outer Banks such an incredible place to live. But today we're going to talk real estate. I'm going to talk year-to-date market statistics, and then we're going to get real. I'm calling you out whether you're a buyer or seller in today's Outer Banks market, or really, for that matter, any market. If you're in the real estate market, we're going to talk about the mindset that you need to make sure that you maximize today's real estate market. So it's not just locally, wherever you are in real estate. If you're thinking of buying and selling in the next year, you're listening to the right podcast. So let's take a look at what has happened in the Outer Banks in April, or I should say year-to-date 2025 until April compared to the same time last year. Residential inventory is again up 54%. Sales are down 7%. And remember back in January when I did my real estate predictions for 2025, the residential unit was right about at 750 units actively listed for sale. And at that time, I said that we were going to easily crest over 1,000 units. Well, it's only April and we're already up to 900 units on the market today. So I think that number is going to be reached probably before we get through 3/4 of the year. But inventory is definitely up. So what does that tell you when inventory is continuing to rise, yet sales are down, almost flat, but down 7%? It tells you that prices are going down. They have to. Think about it. We have less buyers in the market and they have more to choose from. So they can be a little bit pickier. They can be more selective. And that's going to also bring days on the market. The length of time that a listing is going to be on the market, that's also up 72 days in April for days on the market compared to only 56 days last year. And days on the market can be a kind of a misleading statistic because it takes into account those sellers who price their home aggressively or price it correctly in today's market. And if you do that, you're going to sell it. We had multiple listings on a listing just a couple weeks ago. So if you price it correctly, it's going to sell in less than a week. Yet the days on the market, the average time a home is on the market right now is 72 days. So that means there's homes sitting 6 months up to 12 months or longer. If they're priced above the market, buyers are simply not going to act. So speaking of buyers, let's get real and talk about buying and buyers and sellers. But right now I'm going to talk about the buyers in today's real estate market. It's one of the most frustrating things in over 25 years of real estate here on the Outer Banks is when I have a client, I know they want to buy in the Outer Banks. I know they have a dream house in mind and they have the ability to do so, yet they get caught. They get stuck on a particular price. They get stuck on what the market statistics are saying. And so they won't go up another $20,000 or maybe $50,000 to get the house of their dreams. So let's think about that. It's not like you're buying a car or even buying a house in a bigger market, I should say. Bigger markets, bigger cities, they have huge housing developments. And if you don't buy house A, you have house B and C that are basically the exact same house to choose from. The Outer Banks is not that kind of market. It is limited. We talked about inventory being up. We have 900 houses currently on the market, but that is all the way from the tip of Hatteras to the end of the 4-wheel drive in Corova. 900 homes, all in different price ranges, different conditions, different locations. Yet our buyers are treating it like they're going and buying a new car. We have over 9,000 car dealerships just in the state of North Carolina alone. And each one of those dealerships has probably several models, several different cars that they can offer to fit your needs. Buying a home in the Outer Banks ain't like buying a new car. First, let's think about it. You've narrowed your search to a specific area. You're not looking from Hatteras all the way to the four-wheel drive in Corolla. You've narrowed it to a specific area. And even in that area, you've probably narrowed it to a specific neighborhood that you want to own a house in. And we can break it down a little bit further. In that neighborhood, you've probably selected a distance that you want to be from the ocean or a certain location. You don't want to be on the main road. There's specifics even within that neighborhood, within that area, that you have to have before you're going to find the right house that fits your needs. Then you've narrowed the search down to condition of the home. A lot of buyers that I'm working with, you don't want to buy a home that is a fixer-upper. You want a turnkey house that's ready to rent or ready for you to move in as soon as you close on it. And of course, you've picked a price range for that home. You're not looking at all price ranges. The home in the specific location, specific condition, certain size that you want, all of that has to be within your price range. And don't forget, a lot of you need rental returns, so the rents have to be a certain level as well. So all of these requirements that you need to find the perfect house for you, yet you're still expecting the seller. Maybe there's 2, maybe there's 3, but there aren't 900, I can assure you, that fit all of your specific criteria as a buyer. You're expecting that seller to be willing to be reasonable. I've been doing this for a long time and primarily focusing on working with sellers. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. They're not reasonable. Think about it. Most sellers in today's market on the Outer Banks, we're not talking sellers in general across the country. If you're selling your house on the Outer Banks, most likely it's not because you're moving. You got a new job and you have to move to a different city. It's likely a second home or vacation or investment home. So what does that mean? They don't have to sell. And if they don't have to sell, a lot of them don't care what the rest of the market is doing. So when you're negotiating and you need that extra $30,000, $50,000 off to make sense for you compared to the market, you really have to take a step back and think of that seller. And is it worth it for you to hold out from getting your family, getting you the house of your dreams, where you're going to keep it for years in the future and create memories for everybody? Don't get stuck in the minutia of negotiating where you should be able to get the house. If it fits your needs and you have the ability to buy it, just make the decision and you won't regret it. All right, that brings us to the seller side. What are we doing? Inventory is increasing. You've heard it. We're up 54% compared to last year. There are less buyers in the market looking. The good news, and it's really good news, is that we do have buyers. Lynn and I have had a great year to date. A lot of that are buyers that we're working with who are purchasing their dream houses. They're getting their home on the Outer Banks. Interest rates aren't going to go back to 3% or the ridiculous interest rates we've had in the last several years. Certainly they may go down, but I don't see them going down where it's going to significantly change the buyer pool. And most importantly, most of you sellers that I'm working with or that we see in today's market, you've done really good with your purchase. If you've bought over the last several years and you held on to the home for at least 2 or 3 years, you've built up a lot of great equity in the home. And what's that mean? It means that you can sell. So just like I was getting on buyers from sellers, why are you holding out for that unreasonable price, that price that an agent may have told you your home was valued 2 years ago, or even worse, maybe you went online and got Zillow to tell you the quote price that your home was valued a couple years ago. You're holding out for that unrealistic price, And yeah, I'm going to say it. It's unrealistic. If that price was quoted to you a couple of years ago in today's market, it is not realistic. Yet you're holding out even though you want to sell. Why? Why would a client? I have clients that have held out for $30,000, $40,000 and kept their home on the market for several months, even years after. And that's the question I have is why? I think a lot of it has to do with ego. They have that number, that round number. I want $1 million. I want $2 million. That's just a made up value that they have that they would love to get, or I should say you would love to get for your home. But let's break it down and see what that really means. Let's say you're selling your home for $1 million and you've got $500,000 that you're going to net from the sale of that home. You're going to put $500,000 after all the expenses in your pocket, yet you're negotiating. You won't go down another $50,000 to get the deal done. What are you going to do with the money once you receive it? It's not stagnant. As if a home, I think if your home is sitting on the market 2025 in April compared to 9 months, 12 months from now, I don't see conditions where the market's going to significantly increase, certainly not by 10%. Even in the volatile market that we've seen in the stock market over the past 12, 18 months, with the tariffs and everything else that's happening, looking at the market this past year, year to date, going back the last 12 months, the average return in the stock market was 10%. So if you put that $500,000 that you just got from the sale of your house, put it in the stock market, even conservatively, you're going to create over the next year $50,000 that you're holding out. And that $50,000, remember, is not paying the homeowner insurance, is not paying the mortgage if you still have a mortgage on the house. You're not worried if the air condition just goes out and you've got to put another $15,000 into the house over the next 12 months by holding on to the house. So when you're thinking about the pricing and you want to sell your home, sellers, we need to focus more on what you're going to do with that money. Is it going to be stagnant, or, as I assume, you're going to put it somewhere that's going to be an investment and you can make money on it? The bottom line is, whether you're a buyer or a seller, if you have the means to do it and you want to buy that home, or you want to get out and you want to sell, then do it. Don't get caught up. Don't let your ego get caught up on what your neighbor sold his house for or what your buddy bought his house for. These are long-term, lifelong decisions that you're making. So you will be a lot less stressed and much happier in the long run than if you just let it go and make the decision. Hope this helps. Look forward to talking to you next week with some great interviews.